And I'm Heidi Deja. There are waiting lists and tickets just to stand in line and get a chance to buy PlayStation 2.
New for 2078.
It's 2023, hostile aliens, and an
Hey, Jim. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, I'd like to talk to you about a menace. Threat.
Larry?
Hey Heidi, that's right. Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. at Target and along with other area consumer electronics stores, it will be packed with PlayStation 2 fans.
I'm Frankie Muniz from Fox's Malcolm in the Middle, and I'm here at E3.
Everybody coming out today, and hopefully we'll give you some good information. We've been blessed with such.
This took longer than the Dreamcast, so I'm expecting it to look even better than that.
Due to a shortage in components needed to make the product, Sony has only shipped 500,000 units to the U.S. for its initial launch date of October 26th. But the company expects to ship 1.4 million systems before the end of the year.
And now, we're on the onset of a new decade for the PlayStation family of products, what we're calling the digital decade. So let's take a look at what that will look like.
Yeah, so we need to talk about that. Well, only a decade has passed, and here I am spewing my garbage nonsense on the world again. Originally, I wanted to talk about other, more important abstract things, but I promised Nick a video by the 2nd of May, so here we are. At least I hope it's the 2nd as of this writing. God, he's done it again! Anyways, I've decided this should be the topic of choice this week, largely because it's low-hanging fruit and I can bang a script out of it in just a few hours. What, gaming is no longer what it used to be? What other startling revelations are you going to gift us with, Fatty? Water is wet, the sun is bright? Yes, I think I will. The sun is indeed bright. No need to thank me. I'm sure no one has really covered this topic in detail before. In fact, I think I'll make this a multi-part series discussing how we've gone from this to this. How do you like that? So, consider this the too long, didn't have time to watch the ramblings of a basement-dwelling lunatic version of the story. And while it may seem like I'm picking solely on Sony, do note that just as I intend to improve these jarring animation skills, yes, I know I'm imitating Yahtzee, it's temporary, deal with it, I also intend to give everyone else their time in the sun. Lord knows there's no shortage of short-term gains with long-term consequences these brands have engaged in. It's just that, to me, Sony seems to embody the shift that occurred in the industry a while back, namely the PS3 360 era, which I view as the inflection point where games went from the artist's vision to a design by committee let's copy each other approach. See, the PS2 era is one of those magical times in gaming history where design and development had the hardware resources to allow the creator's vision to mostly come to fruition. Hence the diversity in design and gameplay loops. But it wasn't so complex that companies had to onboard 1,000 plus employees across multiple departments just to get the right texture of grass to sway in the wind. I'm looking at you, Zelda. You could even say that this era was probably the most equal of them all, the money being more evenly distributed across different areas in design. Very much unlike today, where development is more accessible, but AAA funding is centrally focused around a handful of studios, most using pre-established templates in their design philosophy. In fact, we'll just name this era something posh and snobby to make ourselves feel intelligent. The egalitarian era. And that's the era the PS3 was designed around. With it being an all-in-one supercomputer/media center, it would allow the artist's visions to be more thoroughly rendered in eye-blistering detail. The thing could even run a separate OS. Linux, sure, but an entire operating system nonetheless. However, one small detail missing here is exponential inflating costs of development. Not only was the thing a nightmare to develop on, the cost of all those eye-blistering textures, sound, shaders, physics, etc. meant more people, longer development times, and larger marketing budgets. I don't know whether Microsoft felt the changing tide in the wind, or if it was just the fact that they were trying to establish themselves as a legitimate competitor when building the 360. But they certainly stole the show by making an easier, more accessible machine, even if the thing did break every 5 seconds. Of course, come to think of it, this was probably just accidental brilliance, as a generation later the two would seemingly swap places, with the Xbox going for the all-in-one, end-all, be-all media center, and Sony moving towards the simple, straightforward design approach. Though, to their credit, they didn't try to use some hieroglyphic computer logic like the PS3 in order to squeeze 3% more power from their machine over the competitor. Anyways, this meant the people holding the money had to more strategically hedge their bets. Not that all 10 of you didn't already know this. But I think that's why I find this era so fascinating. Between the lower plateau of today and the upper end of yesteryear, there's this inflection point on the logistic curve where the business of gaming needed to revise their strategies. I mean, just look at the early PS3 era. And juxtapose that branding with the same console a few years later.
Dear PlayStation, I got a tip that you were making the PS3 $299. Confirm or deny?
$299? Bernie, you can't believe everything you read on the internet. Otherwise, I'd be a Nigerian millionaire by now. While $299 for the sweetest gaming, Blu-ray playing, movie downloading system in the world would be fantastic. No comment.
But all that stuff says $299. Right behind you.
I'm sorry, you said something?
PS3, now $299.
PlayStation. The thing was initially marketed as some monolith from 2001, whereas the commercials a few years later were cheeky and funny and self-referential. Point I'm trying to make here is game design became more risk-averse and standardized during this era, not simply due to greed, though there's plenty of that to go around, but out of necessity. Sure, we can run circles around artistic integrity and passion and all that stuff, but those things themselves don't pay the bills. If you have to drop $56 million on development costs alone, you're going to want some reassurances of long-term profitability. I'd like to dive deeper into this over the next few months. I mean, I haven't even talked about any of the modern systems or what gaming was like back in the anarchy days of the 90s, or how and why this relates to remakes, or where we go from here. Come to think of it, I haven't even covered the central statement to this video, save for a sentence or two. But that's what you get when you give yourself a week to churn something out. You can't really write, edit, and produce your own Weibo PhD thesis on why gaming sucks and how no one cares about it. Also, there are more important things to talk about as well. Politics comes to mind, right below taking a poo. And there's food and astronomy to talk about too. I mean, the channel is named Ham&CheeseAstronomy. So that's where I'm leaving it for now, as I wish to finish this and come out of the closet. Not metaphorically, mind you. I'm literally recording this in a closet. Geez, he made another fourth wall break. He must be doing this YouTube thing right. Oh, and if you're wondering why I haven't even mentioned the Wii, well, turns out Reggie's Blue Ocean was just a well-selling gimmick. Then something came out, then the Switch. Okay, bye!